The diplomatic quarters on Station Krevmesh were designed for species that could breathe methane and withstand crushing gravity. For Dr. Tala Chen, the human xenobiologist, it meant wearing an exosuit 20 hours a day and sleeping in a pressurized hab pod that looked like a oversized thermos. She didn't complain. This was first contact with the Vraxi apex predators from a death world that made Earth look like a vacation resort. The Vraxi towered at 3 meters tall, with 6 limbs that could switch between locomotion and manipulation. Crystalline eyes that saw in spectrums humans couldn't imagine, and jaws that could crack titanium alloy. Their homeworld had produced exactly 0 herbivores. Everything there either ate meat or was meat. The Galactic Council had sent Tala because humans were the only other apex predators in civilized space. They might relate to you, the Centaurian ambassador had said, all 4 of his eye stalks blinking nervously. 3 months in, Tala was still uneaten. Progress. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Ruin and his clutch siblings. 5 Vraxi cubs, barely a meter tall, who'd been following Tala around the station like imprinted ducklings. Their parents found it hilarious. The station commander found it concerning. Tala found it exhausting. Dr. Chen, the translation device crackled as Ruin approached, his smaller claws clicking on the metal deck. "We observe your ritual again?" Tala looked up from her datapad, where she'd been making notes on Vraxi social structures. The cubs had arranged themselves in a semicircle, their crystalline eyes fixed on her hands. "The ritual?" she asked. "The marking ceremony." Rune clarified. "Where you bite the stick and create symbols." It took Tala a moment to understand. "You mean writing? With a pen?" The cubs chittered excitedly, their version of nodding. Tala pulled out her pen, an old-fashioned ballpoint she'd brought from Earth, because sometimes you needed to think with ink rather than electrons. She clicked it demonstratively, and the cubs leaned forward. "It's not really a ritual," Tala explained, though she knew the translation matrix would mangle half the nuance. "It's just another way to record information, like your data crystals, but more primitive." "Primitive," Rune repeated, tasting the word. "Like teeth and claws." "Sure," Tala said, suppressing a smile. She pulled out her physical notebook, another Earth anachronism, and wrote her name in clear block letters. "See? Symbols that represent sounds, which represent words, which represent ideas." The cubs watched with the intensity of predators tracking prey. When she finished, Rune reached out with surprising gentleness and touched the paper with one claw tip. "Magic," he whispered. The next morning, Tala woke to find a rock outside her hab pod. It was roughly the size of her fist. Some kind of crystalline formation, native to the Vraxi homeworld, glittering with internal fractures that caught the station's artificial light. Someone had placed it carefully on the deck, centered precisely in front of her door. Tala picked it up, confused, and carried it to the observation deck where she usually had breakfast. The cubs found her there within minutes. "You received our gift." Rune bounded forward, his clutch siblings close behind. "The rock? That was from you?" "Yes, we wish for you to perform the marking ceremony on it, to make it special." Rune's translation device struggled with the word. "To give it your tooth marks, your symbols." Understanding dawned slowly. Then, all at once, they'd seen her sign her name. To them, with their data crystals and energy-based record-keeping, the physical act of marking something permanent must have seemed profound, primal, perhaps even sacred. "You want me to sign it?" Tala said softly. "Sign," Rune repeated, savoring the word like a new prey species. Tala looked at the rock, then at the 5 cubs watching her with those alien eyes that nonetheless held something unmistakably hopeful. She pulled out her pen. "I can't write on rock with this," she said. "But wait. Here." She returned 20 minutes later with an engraving tool from the station's maintenance bay. Under the cub's rapt attention, she carefully etched her name into the crystalline surface. Tala Chen. Rune took the rock reverently, holding it up to the light. His siblings pressed close, chittering and clicking. Now it is ours, Rune said. Now it carries your mark. Your teeth. By the end of the week, Tala had signed 17 rocks. The cubs brought them constantly different colors, different sizes, different crystalline structures. Some were from the station's mineral samples. Some were from their personal collections. One was apparently a piece of their ancestral hunting ground, smuggled across 3 star systems. Tala signed them all. The Vraxi adults noticed. At first, they found it amusing, another bizarre human behavior to add to the list. But then, something shifted. Ruin's mother, Commander Kreshva, approached Tala in the observation deck. The massive Vraxi warrior lowered herself to a less threatening height. A gesture Tala had learned meant respect. The cubs have shown me their collection, Kreshva said. 17 stones, each marked with your symbols. I hope that's okay, Tala began, but Kreshva interrupted. Among my people, we exchange tooth marks as signs of pack bond. When a warrior achieves a great hunt, we bite ceremonial stones to leave our mark in history. The commander's crystalline eyes fixed on Tala. The cubs believe you are performing this ritual. They believe you are marking them as your pack. Tala's breath caught. I didn't mean to. You misunderstand, Kreshva said. And for the first time, Tala heard something like warmth in the translator's rendering. I am explaining why the council has decided to approve the diplomatic exchange. You have done in 3 months what our negotiators could not do in 3 years. By signing rocks, by understanding that sometimes the old ways, the primitive ways, as you called them, matter more than all the technology we've built on top of them. Kreshva stood to her full height. You used teeth and marks. You made something permanent. You spoke in a language that predators understand. That evening, 19 more Vraxi brought Tala stones to sign. She signed them all, one by one, with her primitive pen and her ancient human custom of writing names into permanent things. She signed them while Rune and his siblings watched, learning that sometimes the distance between species wasn't measured in biology or technology. Sometimes it was measured in whether you were willing to pick up a pen and make your mark.